To check out the video website, then just click on the link that's below this video.
Here's the deal. We've got about an hour together, and I'm going to give you everything I can in that hour to help you get to grips with these issues. So to kick off, we're going to have a look at biting and mouthing, what to do when you're seriously under attack, the most powerful way to stop it, why these attacks occur, and how you can prevent them in the first place. And also how to know if you have a serious puppy mouthing, biting problem. Then we're going to have a look at raising children and training puppies. There's so many similarities. If you're tired of sick and shouting and screaming at your child or your puppy, then you'll enjoy this. And I'm going to show you a very powerful principle that overlies raising children and training dogs, which will save you wasting your emotion. And then I'm going to touch on why so many perfectly behaved puppies seem to turn into nightmare dogs at around about 10 months of age, and how it's actually so easy to prevent that from happening. And then lastly, we're going to have a look at getting your puppy or dog to walk nicely on the leash. And I'm going to touch on why walking your puppy off leash and yet to heel is so much easier than many people think. I'm going to touch on 5 of the most common reasons people struggle to get their puppies or dogs to walk on the leash, how to turn that around, and the #1 reason that puppies and dogs are in trouble on the leash. And with each of these issues, I'm going to touch on some of my best training techniques and tips, and I'm also going to touch on the key to stopping and preventing all these issues and avoiding all the stress and frustration in the first place, which is obviously this is the key to raising that perfect puppy. How does all that sound? Sounds good? You ready? Just having a look there, we've got the results come through. How old is your puppy? How old is your dog? So 45% of you have got a dog over a year old. That's great. That gives me an idea where we're at. We've got a quarter of people with very young, and about 18%, 40% with puppies between 4 months old and a year. So that's great, guys. Okay, so get settled. Hopefully your mobile phones are off. Give me your full attention. You're going to love this next hour. Grab a pen and paper and settle down, because the stuff that we're going to share here could absolutely change your life. If you're ready for it, this is a time for not just sharing some information, but you can start what could be an absolute transformation. This can transform your life. It's transformed mine, and I'm very passionate about it. Hopefully you can feel that energy and enthusiasm for what I do and what I love and what I'm so passionate about sharing. Okay, this is what's coming up, guys. We're almost through the introduction. Then we're going to a little bit about me and why I use this method, and then we're going to go through a very important stage. This is actually my passion in life, the difference between dog training and dog psychology. There is a huge difference, and you've got to get the grips with that big difference, because it's actually not the dog training which will transform your dog. It's the dog psychology. It's understanding that bit. Then we're going to have a look at preventing the biting, looking at the raising children and puppies, and the simplest way to walk your puppy off leash, and then the key. I'll just clarify what the key is to raising the perfect puppy at the end, before we have a look at some Q&A. And of course at the end I'm also going to show you where you can get a ton more information, so stay on at the end, because there's also a downloadable PDF of all the notes from this webinar, so that's going to be coming at the end. Somebody's also going to win 3 months of online coaching with me, which is worth well over $100, and you're all going to be offered a very special offer. Hopefully that interests you. Okay, a little bit about me. Here's me with my little puppy Moses at the beach where we live. I moved from England 15 or 14 years ago. I was born in England, raised in England, moved to New Zealand, which is the other side of the world, and and this is where I live now. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Not many people, lots of land and space, and we live by the beach. So this is where I spend probably most of my time when I'm not in the office or at home. It's either walking in the woods with the dogs or down by the beach. And it's a lot of fun. I love it. The dogs love it. And I'm passionate about dogs. I have 3 now. Well, I've just taken on board a 4th dog. I'm trialing at the minute. There's actually 5 on our property, and I've just seen the neighbour's little fluffy white dog come running up the hill. She can be a bit of a barker, so I've seen her out the window, and I'm fingers crossed that she's not going to start barking, but that's the neighbour's dog. I just want to clarify. So, I've got 3, 4, you could say 5 dogs are on the property. And, as Graham, as you mentioned, I have a beautiful wife, 2 lovely children. We have a horse who my wife rides. We've got a cat called Bougie. I have Arbus. He's got a couple of funny names. We didn't name him, and I've got no control over him at all. I'm not a cat whisperer. We've got about 10 chickens, I think. So that's a little bit about me. Now, I guess a little bit more about this method is, yeah, as a professional dog trainer and what I do, it's really the best way to put it is I do one-on-one consultations where I go to people's homes, and most of the times I'm going to people's homes, it's because they've got a behavioural issue which is starting to go a bit pear-shaped. So usually dogs under 1 year old. I do work with more serious issues of older dogs, and I've worked with thousands of dogs over the years. It's the serious stuff, and my passion is now to share the knowledge that I have with anybody who is interested. A little bit about this method. I guess the first thing is, I've studied so many different methods out there, and I really wanted to choose one which was just the most powerful and amazing method of all. And when I was studying them, what I sort of found was there's two sort of camps. There's those people who are very much into positive reinforcement, which I love. I think that's great, positively reinforcing your dog and using food and treats. I think I've got no problem with that, so long as it doesn't end up bribing your dog. And that's what I was concerned about. There's a lot of methods which just seem to be bribing the dog, so I was very wary of that. And then there was a lot of people who are still using a lot of muscles to outpower the dog and dominate the dog, and a lot of fear and force and aggression. I didn't want that either. So I wanted a method where the dog was sort of choosing to obey and listen, and so you could train them because they chose to listen to you. That was the key bit. And I thought, is there a simple way to this all? And I studied so many methods over the years, books, DVDs, and I've come to realize that absolutely yes, there's a very, very powerful way of training your young puppy to avoid all these problems, avoid all that stress, and it's all about winning their mind first, and then you can train the body. So I've been fine-tuning it over the years, and this is my big challenge. Little Inca, I got her when she was a puppy, and down that left-hand side there you can see this was my ultimate test. Fearful, hyperactive, growling, barking at everything, running away on the walk. She was scared of people, attention-seeking machine. She was unbelievable. The bottom line is I have worked with a tricky dog, and I know this method works because she's now the most amazing. There was a time when I got her and I thought, oh, why has the universe given me this difficult dog? People are going to laugh at me and think Doggy Dan doesn't know what he's doing. He can't even train his own dog. But I knew she was a very tricky dog to start with, and yet now you would never know it. So with some of the most tricky dogs, this method absolutely works. Okay, let's keep rocking through it. I guess one thing I just wanted to say is, yeah, I don't want to keep this to myself anymore, and that's probably my key driving force for doing all of this today. It's to share the knowledge that I have with anyone who's interested. So thank you all for turning up. Right, we're on to the dog training and dog psychology. There's a huge difference, and it's important we understand it because, like I said before, it's not the dog training that's going to turn your puppy or your dog into an amazing dog. It's actually the dog psychology part, and so this is the way I see it. You can't think like a bird or a fish and apply that to your dog. You can't apply bird psychology, fish psychology. You would never do that. However, you also can't apply human psychology to your dog. And yet, it's crazy, but that's what we tend to do. A lot of the time we apply human psychology to our dogs and it doesn't work. And this is why. Your dog is 99.8% the DNA of a wolf. And if you just look at the wolf pack, this is where they've evolved from. This is the real basic stuff. You'll already know this, but it's important just to cover off these simple bits because then it'll make sense. In the wild, there's an alpha male and an alpha female in the pack, and the most important bit is they're in charge. They make all the big decisions. The dogs down in the pack might moan and groan about who's in charge, but they know the pack leaders make all the big decisions above the line. There we go, at the top. Now, what we need is the humans in the household, whether there's one human or 12 humans, it doesn't matter, and we want the dogs down below. Leaders and followers. The leaders make the decisions. But that's how it tends to be. In most people's houses, on the right-hand side, we've got the dog in charge and the people at the bottom. And the reason that happens is because we aren't born to think like a dog. We don't understand why the dog would think that they're in charge, what things are really important to a dog. And getting this bit right is what I call the dog psychology part. It's the dog, it's the becoming the pack leader. That's how I to become the pack leader. And it's got nothing to do with screaming or shouting or raising your voice. You have to know how to become that pack leader. and that is what I call the foundation. So this foundation is the psychology part. We've got to get that bit right. And just to give you an idea of how that fits in with everything else, if you think of that psychology part as your foundation, becoming the pack leader, the other stuff is consistency. You've got to be consistent. You've got to stick with everything that we're going to go through. The energy is the way you do everything. These are what I call my 3 pillars of success. There's the second one, energy, and the third one is training, and that's the bit which everybody focuses on, dog trainers included. People tend to really focus on training your dog. However, when you're training a puppy or a dog and you're not the pack leader, it all starts to fall apart as the dog gets older and challenges you more. So whether you've got a young puppy, become that pack leader is a real key, and all this training that we're going to go through will have so much more impact. So I'm going to go through a lot of training today. I'm also going to keep touching on why you've got to be that pack leader and how it ties in with everything. And of course, when you get all of it right, then you get the results. So hopefully that gives you an idea of the dog training and dog psychology part of everything. Okay, let's keep moving on here. So
to check out the video website, then just click on the link that's below this video.